All right, what's up, Dragon Brood? Welcome to another 5-minute deck tech where we have another list for you that's going to be Simic Merfolk, taking advantage of a lot of cards from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Don't forget, if you want this deck list, you will be able to download it at the description below. If you'd be so kind, before we get started, please hit the like button and remember to hit the subscribe button because it'll get you access to our other 5-minute deck techs as they go up and the gameplay that goes with them as we make those videos. For now, though, let's go take a look and see what Merfolk looks like. All right, for starters, we're taking a look at Sentinel Scout. This is just a 1-mana 1/1. When it comes into play, it explores. Not much else to say other than, it fits the theme of things exploring. We are going to play Jadelight Spelunker, and I've seen various lists where people are playing this card. Some people are playing a full set of 4. I'm probably undervaluing this and only playing 2 in my list, mostly because I don't know when is going to be the right time that you want this card, and then how big are we actually going to get it a lot of the times. But who knows, if it overimpresses, I can definitely find room for a couple more. But for now, there's only going to be 2 in this one. And we're going to play a couple of copy of Twists and Turns. If a creature you control, well, it's only 1 green, but if a creature you control would explore, you scry instead, which is kind of interesting. And then that creature explores. And then, when it enters the battlefield, target creature you control explores. So that's actually really good. And then when a land enters the battlefield under your control, if you control 7 or more lands, you transform this. And it transforms into the Mycoid Maze, which taps for a green, or you can pay 4 and tap it. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You can reveal a creature from among them, put that creature into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So it's a really good way just to get a creature off the top and not run out of gas. But the fact that it does let something else explore, which is really cool, and it gives you an extra scribe, which is nice. And we're going to play a couple of copies of Deeproot Pilgrimage. This is similar to another card that came out in the old Ixalan, but being able to just make another 1/1 anytime you attack is actually not even attack, just whenever something becomes tapped. But this is actually really cool, and the token has hexproof, so it's going to be hard to kill. So I actually like this just for the extra free value we're getting out of it. We're going to play some Make Disappear here because we do want some protection if we're spending this time building up all this stuff with Explore. And this is another new card in Nakanzil Current Conductor. It's a 2-mana 2/3, which is actually fine. It's a Mur Fulk Scout legend, no surprise. And then whenever a creature you control explores a land card, you may put that land onto the battlefield tapped. But if you explores a non-land card, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on this card. So you get the bonus you're already going to get from exploring, and you get to put another 1/1 on this. But if it is a land that goes in your hand, you just get to put it into play. This card's obviously really good. We're playing a full set of 4. It sucks that it's legendary, but, one of the things you can do in this deck to actually make some big creatures. River Herald Scout, this is one that's kind of like, okay. It's a 2-mana 1/2. When it enters the battlefield, it explores, right? If you have stuff that cares about exploring, which we do, it's cool. But realistically, at best, it's going to be a 2/3, which is fine. No other abilities, but that seems okay in the grand scheme of things. And there weren't a lot of Merfolk to pick from, so it makes the cut. Now, going back a little bit, there were some old Merfolk that finally have a home when you're talking about Vallion Hex Catcher. It's a 2-mana 1/1 with flash. Your other Merfolk get +1/+1, and then you can sacrifice a Merfolk to counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays an additional 1. And that's cool because you can do this multiple times. I also like the fact that you might be able to get this as a combat trick, block some way, see what your opponent does, then you flash this in, and now your creatures are bigger. So a few fun things you can do with this card. I actually like it quite a bit. Now, this is a card I am kind of excited about in Sentinel of the Nameless City. This is a 3-mana 3/4 with Vigilance, so already really good size. Then when it enters the battlefield or attacks, you create a map token. And maps can allow you to scry, so that actually helps. And it's just a sizable body. And being able to get that map every turn, if you have the creature out that cares about you exploring, that could be really good. So lots of little stuff this thing's bringing to the table. And again, it's easy to cast because it's a green and 2 colorless. We have Tishana's Tiebinder. This can actually come in with flash and just counter a triggered ability, which is cool. And it turns that thing off for as long as this card's in play. So we love that. And this works against stuff like Shieldred, Wandering Emperors, all that type of stuff. And then Vallion Mindsinger. This is something you don't see a lot. It's also another previous Merfolk that we have access to. But you can put some extra counters on it by kicking it for every 2 mana, and then you actually are able to just take a creature bigger or smaller than it as long as this card's in play. But even if there's nothing else, you can just make a big body and just fight with it. It's one of the few ways we have access to do some big things. And again, we have ways to get extra lands, put lands into play from all the exploring. So hopefully this works out. Then we're going to play a couple of Deep Fathom Echo. This is a 4-mana 4/4. Beginning of combat, you get to explore, and then you can have this be a copy of something else if you want. And this is cool because you may want to copy something like Sentinel the Nameless City to get another Explorer trigger, or who knows, maybe you just want to have another flyer and then come over the top with the counters it has on it from previously exploring. So we're going to try this out. If nothing else, this will be the card that gets replaced and gets turned into Jade Light Spelunkers later on. As expected, we will be playing a full set of Cav of Souls because all of our creatures are Merfolk. We're going to play some Drth Ruins because our creatures aren't that big. This is another way to put some counters on them because they're non-humans. And then we're also going to be playing the Restless Vine stock, which has the ability to turn something else into a 3/3 plus their actual Explore token, so this could help down the road as well. That deck explanation went a little long. I'm not sure we quite made 5 minutes, but I tried. If you want to get the deck list, remember you can download it below. But this was the most difficult one to put together because there's not a lot of really good Merfolk here. So you need every bit of everything this deck does to be competitive, I think. But this will be a fun one to mess around with. And don't forget, please like, subscribe, because that helps out. And make sure you get all the other stuff and the gameplay whenever this goes up. And sweet merch. But yeah, check out this other video so you'll be ready for Standard with more 5-minute deck techs.